Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL, don't panic. Game week is not quite over, but due to the busyness of life, the universe and everything, I'm going to have to do an early game week review video and game week 16 team video. Where to start? Start with the very, very large elephant in the room. A bloody hit. I mean, I've had hits backfire, but this was spectacular. I don't even know where to begin. My transfer in, because I could argue, oh, that was the hit. It wasn't the hit. My transfer of Foden in, nice clean transfer. Yeah, absolutely lovely. That worked out great. Let's talk about Chow. I decided to take the hit. I wanted a piece of Newcastle for a fixture against Burnley. I knew I wanted a Newcastle asset going forward. I was sort of torn between Chow and Hall, potentially Bruno G. I decided, because there was just a nice easy path there, and I wanted to get rid of Senesi from a Bournemouth defence that hasn't kept a clean sheet since the Ice Age, against a Chelsea forward line that hasn't blanked since game week 1. I thought, hey, it's against Burnley, who can't score away from home, or bloody anywhere for that matter. It just seemed it's a nice, easy one. Yes, I didn't really want to take a hit, but listen, it's a player that I actually quite like, with some good fixtures going forward. Will have some nice defensive rotations for me, so I took the hit. I think I said what I said in the last video. Never, ever count your points until that final whistle is blown. So here in New Zealand, I was watching those. It was just about hitting dawn, and in what wasn't a great game week, it wasn't actually looking too awful. I was actually on a relatively healthy green. A few points had come in here. It had Foden, Saka. There's a few points here and there, and I had a few players to come. And I was looking. I was on a green. I thought quite miraculously. I was most of the matches had finished. Newcastle were playing against 10-man Burnley with a 2-0 lead, and I was literally, and it was already showing 95, 96. I was watching it on sort of a match centre thing here, where it sort of covers all of the games. You can see all the scores, etc. Well, one match is live. So I thought, oh, turn that off and I'll go to bed. And then penalty at St James's, and I thought, oh, Newcastle 3-0. Oh. And it's Burnley. I thought, you have got to be fucking kidding me. So that's bad enough. That's bad enough. But of course, Senesi, there's 8 pointers. There's 8 pointer. This fucking game, I say it long and often, will drive you insane. So, I hope that wasn't all. Of course, that hit affected me in other ways. Because of course, if I hadn't taken that hit, I would highly likely have played. Well, I would have either played Rice or Dewsbury Hall. I mean, this is a spectacular hit backfiring, folks. This is epic proportions. If this was a movie, it would be Ben-Hur. What was the other? Listen, I've just, this block of 5 game weeks. I swear to God, because I sort of, me, I sort of take a block of 5, sort of try and set some objectives. I don't think I've really set, because there was so much going on. I mean, you guys won't talk about it. I've had a pretty rough last 4 or 5 weeks with so many things going on. But and did I ever really actually have an 11 to 15 plan in place? I don't think I did. It's been all over the fucking shop. It really has. Even just my benching decisions. I don't normally have too many benching points. Occasionally we're all going to get them, and that's the point of having actually a reasonably deep bench. But Dewsbury Hall, I mean, it's stupid. Why have I not been playing Dewsbury Hall? I keep saying it was man's in form, but I keep saying, oh, this little hot streak can't continue. All these spectacular goals. I watched a fair old chunk of that match. Guy looks spectacular. The guy actually just does look spectacular. He just knows a way to go. He could have, that was it 16 pointer. That could have been more. The one that's really killing me, really killing me. In fact, I suspect both Rice and Dewsbury Hall could well have started for me, although Sinisi would have been on the bench if I hadn't taken the hit. The one that's absolutely killed me more than anything is I actually had Rice in the starting 11 and Mateta on the bench. And I just kept thinking, oh, Mateta's going to punish me. It just was in my head. And I was listening to FPL Harry, and someone came in with the question, bench Rice or Mateta, and he went up bench Rice. So, oh, Harry, 20 gazillion top 5k finishes in a row. Harry knows best. So I literally changed it a minute before deadline and put Rice on the bench and started Mateta. And if you guys are watching the videos, I've had Mateta on the bench all week long, and it was just last minute doubts and FPL bloody Harry. I like FPL Harry. I'm joking. He's an absolutely superb content provider and FPL team manager. But just should have gone with my own gut on that. The yellow flag was a little worry, but at that stage I wasn't too worried that he'd be starting. Only myself to blame again. But as I say, of course, if I hadn't taken the hit, and if I'd stuck with my instincts and kept Mateta on the bench and started Rice, and Dewsbury Hall would have been starting if I benched Sinisi, this could have been a fucking really good game week, because frankly the only thing that's knocked me back to a red arrow at the moment, and we've still got obviously Mbumo to go, I was sitting on this score, this rotten score, the teensiest of greens, before the match this morning, the Palace match. I was actually sitting on the teensiest of greens. I was actually sitting on the teensiest of greens even at the end, because with Munoz not playing, I actually thought that when he wasn't playing, and I do not wish injury upon anyone, I really don't, even if they're going to damage my rank. But when I saw he wasn't playing, I thought, oh, take the smooth with that one, because that was the player I thought could have done me some real damage. But I forgot about Maguihi. And from sitting on a tiny green, but still with Mbumo to go tomorrow, I'm now something like a 99,000 red, so about 950k. So this has not been a good five game weeks. I'm just really glad to see the back of it, and seeing the back of it, I am in spectacular fashion. Anyone else to talk about there? Saka, Mbumo to come tomorrow. Please, Mbumo, I do need a goal or two from you. That would turn that 99, depending on what Bruno Fernandes does, of course. But a goal, I think even a goal would probably just put me into sort of a grey, maybe a small green. It is really so tight. It's just literally a few points, feels like almost a couple of, well, yeah, goal. It's like a 100k rank, isn't it? As I just saw a couple of hours ago. Okay, it's I may touch back at the end of the week to game week 15 just for a final quick wash up, but I'm sort of kind of glad to say goodbye to it now, because we have 5 free transfers. We've got 5 free transfers now. Just a little bit of news from my side before I show you what I've done, because I don't necessarily approve myself, and I do not indeed recommend everyone does this. But I've decided, right, I'm just setting out a strategy for the next 5 game weeks. I'll try and go through it in more detail at the end of the week, and I'll get all the numbers and everything into the spreadsheet. But I have indeed used the 5 free transfers. I'm probably over the next 4 to 5 weeks, pretty much up to Christmas, and indeed post-Christmas. As you know, I've just got back from Ireland a few weeks ago. I've got a few projects kicking off. I've literally got, there's a bit of post-event stuff, post my recent sad news, which is going to take an awful lot of my time. I kind of need to get a little bit of a focus on that for a while, because this, and you guys know this, takes up quite a bit of my thinking. So I've done a set and forget team. I've used my 5 free transfers. I have gone early. I touched on it a little bit in a quick video a couple of days ago. And so it's almost a set and forget side, apart from a couple of little things I might want to do in a couple of game weeks time. And it's just going to set and forget. Now, why have I done this before I show you the team? Some of the stuff that's been going wrong for me. And listen, I'm still not in an awful position. A couple of good game weeks and bang. You know, what is it? Last year I was in something like 500k going into game week 13. yeah, something like 30, and ended up 50k. I probably should have been higher, apart from a few punts just at the end, just to see if I could really get up the ladder. So there's a long way to go in this season. For the next 5 game weeks, I want to stop the points dodging. I don't want these bench points. I don't want the pain of these benching decisions before in the 10 hours leading up to deadline. I live in New Zealand. I can do without the sleepless nights. And I need to just give myself, as I say, that sort of set and forget. That looks good. That team has got all potential. Are there risks? Yes. But is there upside? By God, yes. There's nice differentials in there. Waffle. Let's just I'll talk through it. Always interest your opinions. I know this is fraught with some risk, what I have done, but I think I've covered off some of that risk. This is where I am going for the next 5 game weeks. What is the plan? Okay, let me bring this up on my screen. Okay, so Dubravka's not my main goalkeeper. I've gone with this. I've gone a bit early because I had the exact money to get to this. I was actually a little bit gutted by 1 or 2 that I was just 0.1 or 0.2 away from 1 or 2 of the players I wanted to either keep. That I wanted to keep. I'll touch on those in a second. Main one, if I want to talk on the one I wanted to keep, I really wanted to keep Dewsbury Hall, and I was just 0.1 million short. So you see I've got Whiffer on the bench there, who, I don't know, he didn't go so great this morning, but if you look back in his fixtures over the last 6, 7, 8 games, he's been silently ticking along in with 4, 5 pointers and the odd nice little sort of 8 or 9 here and there. Been a little sleeper. I've completely missed him. So as a little enabler, we're gonna have him on the bench, but it doesn't pose me any major benching problems. And similarly, Mukiele, we know he's just he's a 90-minute man. He'll play pretty much every fixture, so absolutely grand. My main goalkeeper will be Verbruggen, but just for this one, it's Dubravka. And then Verbruggen has got some nice fixtures going forward. I got 3 points this morning, but pulled off some fabulous saves. Just 3 pointers this morning as Palace went on to grab a last death win. But Verbruggen going forward will be the main goalkeeper. Obviously, you can see where the core of this team is that midfield and up front. That is just set and forget. Fingers crossed, and I know I've gone early, but I had to go early to avoid price changes, price rises. In the ideal world, I would have hung on to Mbumo for another week, but it's just going to be insane. I just actually haven't got too much time to think about things for the next few weeks. As I say, we're starting some projects and things now that I'm back in New Zealand. Work has to happen. I literally haven't worked for the last 2 years as I've gone back and forth to Ireland. So have to get out and work and do normal people things. It's got to be very weird indeed. So yeah, for the next few weeks, this is a set and forget team. Let's run through it. Listen, Dubravka. When I had my initial sort of keeper rotation with Petrovic, Dubravka, Petrovic, that was going so well for me. I was actually up there at times averaging 6 points per game week, getting those rotations right. Of course, Petrovic and the Bournemouth defence fell off the, just fell off the wall completely. Last 6, 7, 8 game weeks, and that average dropped right back down. So hopefully the Dubravka Verbruggen rotations can sort of get me back to that sort of. I'm happy with a 4-point average out of my keeper, and Verbruggen is actually on that sort of average at the moment. I think it's about an average of about 5. So I can get a good average going with Dubravka, Verbruggen. It's not a great entry point, obviously, which is why Dubravka's in there. And if I had less worries about price changes, I'd probably just have waited a week for the entry point for Verbruggen. But I've just decided to go hard out, just do it, and let this team roll for 5 game weeks. So that is what it is. Timber, he actually picked up DEFCON, first time I think I've seen him do it. for the last match. That won't be ongoing once he moves back into his normal right back spot. But with the fixtures going forward for Arsenal, yeah, he was a retain, kept him. O'Reilly with his clean sheet this week. Happy to keep him going forward. It does look like he will play most weeks. Pep likes him, and as he said, young lad, and he can play all day, every day. And in saying that, when I was the same age myself, I probably would play 2 or 3 matches, not quite at the same level, to be fair, but you did. The power recoveries were strong, and you would play matches. So still, that City defence, I know they managed to win that game, but it still looked like they could concede easily, didn't they, against Sunderland? But he's there. Timber and O'Reilly, in theory, are my 2 attacking type midfielders, and Shaw and Lacroix, my DEFCON boys. Those are the only ones that might change around a little bit in the next 5 game weeks. There is 1 or 2 things I would like to do that I didn't have the money, and not so much the money, the transfers for. As I say, I have used all 5. So there was a couple of things I would have liked to have done a little bit differently, but I didn't have the transfers, and I didn't want to take, obviously, any hits, given my success story with hits. But yeah, I've got 2 decent clean sheet potential and decent attacking chance potential, Timber and O'Reilly, and on the other side, some clean sheet potential depending on fixtures, and in the tougher fixtures, certainly DEFCON potential in Shaw and Lacroix. Reasonably well balanced, as I say, but may change a little bit over by the time I've hopefully roll 2 or 3 transfers, because I definitely need 2 or 3 to get to Christmas and get some of this bit of this work out of the way, and we're just going to let this roll. Bruno, I brought in Bruno for Mbumo. Mbumo will be off to AFCON. I think Bruno will be playing a little bit further forward. Obviously, he just keeps finding a way to points. Not spectacular points at the moment. Since Mbumo's been in the team, he's been sort of getting that about a 5 point-ish average, picking up his DEFCON, occasional assists, not too many goals so far, but showing the potential for goals, but in that slightly deeper role on all the set pieces, penalties, etc, etc, etc. When Mbumo goes, I do expect Bruno to be playing a bit further forward. Now, because I'm a Man United fan and an FPL fan, maybe I noticed these things more than other people. But Bruno, in those easier fixtures, we think we've got used to him this year, just having these little, unspectacular points. Bruno hauls. Bruno will get on runs sometimes, where, particularly playing in that more forward role, where he will hit, 2 or 3 weeks in a row, 11, 12, 13, and more pointers, where he does get that goal, where he has got his 3 bonus points, etc, etc, and now he's obviously got the additional routes to points, and then of course the clean sheet points. So United's run of fixtures is pretty good. So Bruno in these next 5 fixtures, there's whole potential there, particularly, although I think losing Mbumo weakens United as a team, I think it strengthens Bruno Fernandes as an asset. So I've gone there early, because I do expect to see it's going to be so volatile with price changes this week. I would have liked to have kept Mbumo for Bournemouth at home, because I think he will be playing that fixture, so reasonably sure he will, but I've gone early, because it's going to be incredibly volatile this week with price rises, falls. We don't know where it's all going to go. It's going to be insane. Saka, currently pretty much with an average of 6 at the moment, which is kind of what I said and what I predicted and where I thought it would go. I've said that often enough, so that's kind of where Saka is at the moment since I brought him in for this last block of 5. However, in this next block of 5, there are fixtures there where he has whole potential, because that was one of the big decisions I made, was moving Rice out. I'm going to talk more about Rice in a second. Was moving Rice out and keeping Saka. I think Saka does have the bigger haul potential in the next 5, given some of the fixtures that Arsenal got, and that is the main reason I've kept Saka. Also, the fact that midfield looks amazing, doesn't it? Palmer, Foden, Saka, Bruno. They are largely, obviously, you'll argue the case at the moment between Foden and Haaland, but they are very talismanic players for their team, and 3 out of 4 of them are on penalties. So I've gone with Saka. Again, as I say, penalties, set pieces, picks up some DEFCON. Maybe not in some of these fixtures going forward, because there's but this is why I've kept Saka instead of Rice, because I think there is more possibility for those penalties and for outfield attacking returns and from set pieces and actually from goals. So I've gone with Saka. Slightly worried about minutes, the early subs, if I'm being honest. But if they're taking Saka off, it means that they think the match is probably wrapped up. So they'll probably get 3 goals. And let's hope that Saka has, got 1 or 2 involvements in those goals and is picking up his 1 point clean sheet bonus. So I've gone there. Could be proven right, could be proven wrong. It'll be interesting to monitor, because I want to get Rice back. I'll talk about that in a minute. I do want to get to Rice back if I can. Maybe for Whiffer, maybe in about 3 game weeks if I rack up some transfers. We'll see. Foden speaks for itself. That's one of the things that did actually go well this week, bringing Foden in. Is there an argument in the next 5 game weeks to perma-captain Foden? Haaland has only returned. I haven't got my spreadsheet done for this week. Has he only returned in? I think he's only returned in. Let me just check this. I'm not going to show this on the screen. But give me a second. I don't think I'm fair. Haaland's only returned in one of the last 5. 4-4-2, 14-2. Compare that with Foden. 3-2, 15, 17, 12. Now that would be punty, wouldn't it? Just put a perma captain on Foden and pray to God he outscores Haaland. Because you would have to perma captain, or you end up doing this. Or you miss the points. You end up, I'll go Foden this week. I'll go Haaland next week. You get it the wrong way around. God knows I've done that often enough down the years, and once or twice this year. I think if you decide, I think you sort of commit to one or the other. But you look at those fixtures going forward. Crystal Palace away. Sadly, I just think the Palace defence can be got at the moment, particularly in the last 20. There's just too many fixtures. And I know I've got Lacroix, and Lacroix is one of those ones that is likely to change in 2 or 3 game weeks for me. West Ham home. Forest away. Still shipping goals. Sunderland away. Chelsea home. I think Chelsea can be got up. I think that's perma captain Foden or Haaland. Or should we be looking at Arsenal? Wolves home. Actually, should I be looking at Saka against Wolves at home? Everton away. Brighton home. Villa home. Villa are looking good. Matty Cash. Could be something good to look at maybe in 2 or 3 game weeks when I've built up those transfers, because that would actually give me a little bit of money. Bournemouth away. Bournemouth, despite the latest clean sheet out of nowhere. Sorry, just inner monologue working there. Don't need to answer those questions today, but it is something to consider. I think if we did, talk about the perma captain Haaland, maybe 4 blanks in 5. But none of us are going to be selling him in the immediate future, not with some of those fixtures. But is Foden more routes to points? Actually not more, because Haaland of course has got penalty, but you know what I mean. Gets more points for a goal, gets clean sheet bonus, and he's looking good. He's looking really, really good. He's looking almost unplayable at times. Might talk about that at the end of the week, but if I do decide to do that, I'm going to go with one and stick with one. But that perma captain on Foden could mean for massive, massive rank rises, or of course it could end in utter, complete disaster. Talk about that again. Okay, the big one. This is the reason for the remodel. Yes, I know this is absolutely fraught with risk, Palmer. One of the things I've realised I haven't done this year is catch some players early enough. Too often I've sort of come in on the back of their purple patch. I like Palmer as a player. I have, I think it was 2 seasons ago, he made my season. I was like, it was actually around game week 15. Oh, actually, this is like an 2-year anniversary. I'm just realising. It was, I was a very, very casual player, and I was actually having a play, and I was actually similar to this. I was thinking, how do I get all of these players? I think it was FPL, someone or other said, oh yeah, there's no way you can actually get, you know, Trippier, Son, Haaland, Bruno, blah 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 blah, all these in your team, you know, blah blah blah. And I said, so hold my beer. Where's the players? And I ended up going with Palmer and Gordon, and I did actually end up getting, as I say, the Trippier, Son, Salah, Saka, Son, etc. It was about 7 premiums, and I scraped it. And the enablers, Palmer and Anthony Gordon, back then when they were 5 million. And oh my God, my second half of the season was actually absolutely outrageous. So this is almost like a Palmer gave me. Anyway, I remember for a specific reason. It was after game week 15, and it was just coming up to Christmas, and I was in Ireland. Oh, is that fate? Is this Providence? Is this Palmer coming back to his roots to help me to a fantastic run for this last 2/3 of the season? So, yeah, last 2/3. Yes, that's what it is. So Palmer's back. We're going to see the old Palmer. We're going to see some 2, 3, 4 goal hauls before anyone else is on with him, and I'm going to be in the top 5k in 5 weeks' time. You never know. Never know. Anyway, I've gone with it. I love the look of that midfield. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is a set and forget. Just go out every week, and there's going to be some good weeks, but there could also be some freaking mega weeks. It's going to be fun to watch it, and that's what this game is about at the end of the day. And up front, yeah, total template, isn't it? Thiago, Haaland. Thiago's going to go massively up in price over the coming weeks. But this week he's going to have 2 or 3 price rises, as indeed will Foden, as indeed potentially Saka, as indeed potentially Bruno. But I don't think anyone's going to be buying Palmer. I think he was subbed before 60 minutes. I think his minutes are going to get managed. I don't know whether he'll get any minutes against Real Madrid during next week, but he will be in for Everton at home. Decent enough fixture. I predict a goal. I predict a goal for Palmer. I might do. Maybe I should do a Des prediction. Actually, we'll add more videos, Des. You haven't got time. Not probably until after Christmas. Yeah, we call it Desmond's delusions, or Panic's prophecies. Probably Desmond's delusions, but hopefully, yeah, a panic prophecy. Palmer will return against Everton. Palmer will get 2 returns against Everton, goal and an assist. So that's it. It's kind of almost a set and forget team. Little plan, hopefully maybe in 3 weeks' time, would be injuries, etc. All the things that screw up our plans. I quite like Whiffler. He's a good Whiffler. He's a good little enabler. Got him for 4.9. I would have loved to have hung on to Dewsbury Hall, but it was actually just 0.1 million. I think it was out with the Dewsbury Hall price. So I've gone this path, but I do think I would like to probably remove Lacroix in a couple of game weeks' time when I get a couple of transfers. There could be ways, if I go total DEFCON. If I brought Timber down, fine. But then there are some really good options. There are actually some good options that may provide more consistent points even than a Timber. I don't know. I think I like Timber and O'Reilly. If O'Reilly's numbers, if O'Reilly's game time stays safe, you know, that it's a fun pick. I like the balance. Timber, O'Reilly, Chow, Lacroix. Could play with those a little bit. Could turn Whiffer into back up to Dewsbury, Hall, or an Anderson, and that's really good. That provides, I think, just a bit of a stronger bench. But I do say, well, it's interesting to see over the next few weeks what Whiffer's points. He's been ticking away under the radar, that lad. He didn't get anything this morning, but previous to that, 6, 7, 8 game weeks in a row, he pretty much hit DEFCON every week, and the occasional clean sheet point, etc. It was a real steady flow. It was not a million miles off Declan Rice, quite frankly. Yeah, well, maybe it is just leave well enough alone. That is the team for 5 game weeks. Just let it roll. There's no really major benching decisions there. Just let it go and just fix things. You know, if they do become sort of, you know, emergency proportions, like, you know, an injury or something like that, where we obviously have to do something depending on which player it is. That, for better or worse, is the team, folks. That is the team, for better or for worse. I know I do not recommend anyone does what I've done. Go in early. If there are problems in Europe, I am, if not screwed, I'm certainly in the shite. Yeah, watch these boys go out game week after game week. You start with every game week. You start with a lot of optimism. Could have my soul crushed week on week. However, I haven't put the final numbers into the spreadsheet. Just as I say, waving goodbye to the last 5 game weeks. We'll start afresh with the new game week. Now the next set of 5. The plan is, this is a set and forget side, and just let it go and stop avoiding points and changing things and benching dilemmas, and just change this if there is, like, you know, a flag or an emergency. That is the plan. Let's see if I can get myself close to that 70-point average again, because there is a bit of work to be done. But it's not been a great set of 5 game weeks for a lot of people. The averages across the entire competition have actually dropped. As my averages have dropped, so has everyone else's. And although I've dropped by a few 100,000 places over these game weeks, it's not a long way, you know, just 1 or 2 decent game weeks. And this team has haul potential all over it. Doesn't mean they will, but you look anywhere in that team, Timber could haul, O'Reilly can haul, Chow, maybe not so much, but he has had hauls. Lacroix, yeah, maybe not so much, but Palmer, Foden, Saka, Bruno, Thiago, Haaland, some of those fixtures going forward, if they all hauled in the same game week, take care, have fun, play your own game, don't panic. I will be back in a few days' time, and it's probably going to be reasonably close to deadline with the final team locked in, captaincy decision, Bishop Brennan Cup. Game week 15 is not yet over, and Mbumo could hat-trick for me tomorrow, and it's happy days. But I think we all know what's going to happen, don't we? See you soon. Bye-bye.